I'm just curious if Christians have a belief in consciousness. And then also, I think part of the reason why I thought about this was because of the whole time thing, how a lot of scientists, like you're saying, don't actually believe in time. They're like, they say like time is a flat circle or whatever, where it's like we experience things in time, but like there really is no time. So I think that's kind of like why I brought it up. In terms of a secular viewpoint, would you say that it's the same thing? Like there really is no time. It's just something that we've kind of like experienced as humans.
So my understanding of the issue, so most secular physicists would probably take what's called the B theory of time. The A theory of time would be just time exists and all that exists occurs in the present moment. And we just move through moments, right? The B theory of time says that all points in time exist and are equally real. Okay, and that's kind of the counterintuitive one. My impression is that, so I don't think that anybody on any side would say that time isn't real. They would say that time is just another dimension. So in the same way that I exist here in Dallas, Texas, and you exist, where are you? I forgot.
Southern California.
Okay, so you exist in Southern California and I exist here at the same time, right? There's no contradiction there. The B theory of time would say that everything can exist at different points in time and be equally present and real in the four-dimensional space-time continuum, if that makes sense. So time is just another dimension, right? Whereas the A theory would say, no, time is this kind of special dimension where you can only exist at one point in time and you just move through it as a single point. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's good enough. And then how would you explain, how do you look at time besides, I'm not talking about time as in like day, month, year, you know what I mean? Like how would you define time in terms of science or
I'm a B theorist, so I take the latter view that all points in time are equally real. And that's mostly because I think that science has pretty much shown that time is malleable. After Einstein came up with the theory of relativity in the early 20th century, about 100 years ago, that theory suggested that time was not absolute. And since then, there's been experiments done that pretty strongly demonstrate that he was correct. So for example, if you take an atomic clock, and this has been done, and you synchronize two atomic clocks and you put one in a plane and fly it all the way around the world, it will end up off from the original clock, from the second clock that stayed put, exactly as predicted by Einstein's relativity theory. And that basically means that when two clocks are in motion relative to each other, they start to tick at different speeds. And it's really weird and counterintuitive, but it's true. And so what that indicates to me is that time is a thing that is malleable. And to me, that says God must have created it. And if God created it, and that means he's outside of it and above it. And so an atheist would probably say that time is a sort of a logical rule of how things work. And most Christians including me, would agree that if it's a logical rule of how things work, that even God is required to abide by the rules of logic. So for example, God can't make a rock so big he can't lift it, right? Because that's a logical impossibility. So but going back to what you earlier talked about, what you were talking about with idealism, right?
Yeah, hold on one second. Let me stop you right there. We're totally getting off the the original topic. But in terms of the time thing, I have heard that thing about flying the clock or the watch around. You said around the Earth, right? Staying within the atmosphere of the Earth. Well, first of all, this is a stupid question, but if you actually took my iPhone and the clock on there would change as I go, right? Like that, a normal watch or clock would be accurate in terms, because as you go through the different time zones, it would just change and be correct, right? So what kind of watch are you talking about? Are you talking about more of like a natural watch type thing? Do you see what I'm saying?
Well, first of all, the clock on your iPhone would not be accurate enough to detect the change in time that's caused by relativity. It's a very tiny change that can only be detected by extremely accurate clocks, like atomic clocks.
So you're talking about like an atomic clock.
Yeah. So if you flew around the world and you disconnected your iPhone from the internet or whatever, and you flew around the world, it would keep the same time. And when you came back, it would probably read the same time by the minute with the clock that you left at the original spot, because it's just not accurate enough to detect the small change that would occur.
So what is an atomic clock?
An atomic clock is a clock that keeps time based on the vibrations of nuclei in atoms, which are extremely fast. Yeah, they're extremely fast.
Oh man! All right.
I don't know the exact numbers, but it's something like, I want to say they usually use cesium atoms.
Yeah. Yeah.
I want to say it's about 10 to the 33rd power vibrations per second, which is a huge number.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could honestly go way down this rabbit hole, but I don't. I think we want to stick kind of to religion. So